This year with the tomatoes, I have plenty of sauce, plenty of soup, plenty of stewed tomatoes. So I'm going to try my hand at tomato paste. That's really the only tomato product that I've had to buy this year. So I'm going to make my own tomato paste. And these are some red snapper and some halcinator. So to begin with, I'm going to core these out and drop them in some hot water to get the peelings off. Now, there's many different ways to get the peelings off. A lot of people freeze them, and then when they thaw out, the peelings come right off. This is just the way I'm used to. It's personal preference. And some people slit the bottom to make it peel easier. I don't find this necessary. I just rather take the core out. Now I've got my water hot here, and I'm just going to drop them in. And it takes about 2 to 3 minutes, depending on the ripeness of your tomato, how big it is. Once that skin splits, it is ready. Now, a lot of people drop this down into some cold water to cool it off real quick so they can peel it. I like just to sit here and drop all my tomatoes in, and by the time I get through, the first ones are already cooled off enough I can handle them and slide that skin right off of there. Aren't these gorgeous tomatoes? Those halcinators just really showed out this year. So here's some that's cool. The skin just peels right off. I've already got the core out, and I'll just slice that little end off there. Also, if you have any bad spots on there, you want to make sure to get those off, because you do not want any bad spots on your tomato. Now, a lot of people do not peel their tomatoes, and that is totally up to you. I find that the skin is a different texture from the flesh, and sometimes you get those tiny chunks instead of that uniformly smooth mixture. The skins also have a nutrient in them called flavonoids, which causes a bitter flavor. So I just prefer to peel mine to get that smooth texture. Again, it's just preference. So the next step is I put them in my crock pot whole. Do not cut them up. And I will fill this as full as I can. And I did this for about a week. I would do a crock pot full and then put them in the fridge until I had enough to can. So I've got my lid on here. I've got it cracked just a little bit, and I've got it on high. And I just let it sit there and simmer and let the water cook out. This is really important. You want to drain that water out. So every couple of hours, I would just come and dip the water out of the tomatoes. And like I said, this is a long process, but it turned out so well. It's the best one I've found to do the tomato paste. And I'm not going to waste this juice/water. What I ended up doing is putting it in my freeze dryer and freeze drying this juice, so I'll have it to add back to soups and stews later. So this is about 4 hours later, and you can see it's really cooked down. You are going to be amazed at how much this cooks down. And I ended up getting about a gallon of juice from every batch that I did. And I would just let it continue. Once it got down to about this level, I did turn it on low because I did not want it to burn or scorch. This is the finished product. all the water has cooked out. Now, that whole crock pot of tomatoes has cooked down to this small amount. And like I said, I just would do this every night over a week's time until I had enough to process. Then I run it through my Ninja blender to get it smooth. I just put it in there and let it run for about 5 minutes. And it would come out a very smooth, creamy texture. Now, I did not add any seasoning to this. You could add your basil, your rosemary, your oregano, your thyme, any of those seasonings if you wanted to go ahead and season it. But I just wanted the plain tomato paste, not seasoned. I'm going to do this in pint jars. So I'm adding a teaspoon of salt to the jars. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon, or it may have been a teaspoon, I'm not quite sure, of lemon juice. This helps with an acidity because these are going to be water bathed and not pressure canned. You want to fill the pints up, leaving a 1/4 inch headspace. And this is very, very thick, which is exactly what I was going for. Now, once you get these filled up, you want to make sure to get all those air pockets out because there were a lot of air pockets in there. And I'll just take a wooden spoon and give it a really good stir and a shake and get all those little bubbles out. And as always, you know the routine. Be sure to wipe those rims so you don't have anything to interfere with that seal. Place your lids on. And then put your bands on finger tight. Do not over tighten. And you're going to water bath this. Pints would be water bath for 35 minutes, quarts for 40 minutes, and you would need to adjust this according to your altitude. Do not start your timer till your water is boiling. Once it's a rapid boil, then start your timer. Once they're finished, you want to take them out and let them sit undisturbed on the counter for at least 24 hours. After that 24 hours, remove the bands and check for your seals. And all these sealed. Next, be sure to label them with what the product is and the year. After you've gone to all this trouble, you don't want to have a mystery product sitting up on your counter. Now, all the juice that was left over, as I said, I put in the freeze dryer. And I'll have this to add to any soups or any tomato products. Thanks for watching today. I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, just put them down in the comments.